live. So anyway, let's say a big hello to all the sisters in the VIP salon. Thank you for being here. I am so excited to have you get to know Ana Nieto. She is brilliant, if not um, someone who pushes me sometimes beyond my absolute limit, but in the most beneficial way possible. So, and I'm so excited to just get to have this conversation. I've been sharing with, and I'm just making sure that I can see both here. There we go. I've really been sharing to spread the word about this event, how, if we've been thinking the same way over and over and doing the same things and we're not getting results, it's such a clear indicator that it's time for us to embrace that we need to do things differently. And to me, your form of fitness, the way you've really modeled for me, and I know other women, just being able to partner with our bodies and allow ourselves to feel good, how powerful that actually can be for transformation, right? Coming from the very masculine, from the no pain, no gain world of athletics, where it has to hurt in order to be useful, to get to shift. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes it hurts, but in a very different way. The work that we do, it hurts in a very different way. I will just share with everybody, and then we're going to get to hear from you, most importantly. But what's been fascinating to me about your model for health and your model of fitness is that it has so much to do with paying attention to our body, right? I have found that in our workouts, I can't even think about anything else because I'm so busy feeling so many different parts of my body and the way they're working together at the same time. And, just being so fully tuned in, so fully present to my body, to me is what's always was missing, why I ended up with so many injuries from athletics, because I was doing things without paying attention to the alignment of my body and helping my body work together. And so it's mind blowing for me to do these workouts, to be that connected to my body, and then to actually feel better after a workout. Right. That to me is just a mind blowing experience too. I've had the experience of working out, feeling good that I worked out, but then like the complete drain. And then maybe a couple of days later, it's like, okay, I'm glad I worked out and did that hard workout. But I'm talking about right after, just feeling better, feeling more powerful, more in tune with my body. So anyway, I could go on, but I won't, because more importantly, we want to get to hear from you. I'm not going to, because I am trying to do this on this time frame. I'm not going to read your whole bio, but I think it's just really important that our listeners know that you have 20 plus years in this industry, right? Working with women, helping us be in tune with our bodies. And what's been fascinating to me lately in the emails that you send out is the word gentle. Right, that the word gentle has had a focus. Like, they just don't even go together for so many of us, right? When we're talking about fitness and weightlifting and transforming our bodies, right? Like, there's no space for the word gentle, and there absolutely is in your work. So all of this to say, I adore you. Thank you so much for making the space to be here. Is there anything else that we should know about you before we dive into this conversation?
Thank you, Alana. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever been called brilliant. So now I think I have to keep up for that.
Put that on your resume.
You put that really high up there, and I love hearing how you're experiencing the workouts. I'm not sure that you have shared all that with me. So it's great to hear that, it's bringing so much to you. And I'm very blessed to be working with you and sharing. I don't think there's anything more to be known about me. I mean, I love what I do. I just, it fulfills me to see people when they actually get the results that they do. It is very interesting to be in an industry that I think there's a lot of misconceptions, and actually have a method that I believe is the best kept secret still. And that when people try it, experience similar things than you do. So I think you put it in the way that a lot of people, when they first try it, they also share with me. And every time it happens, I'm like kind of shocked a little bit, because I'm surprised again that there's no more people out there, doing it in this way. So, because it's very true what you said, that we always think about fitness with the no pain, no gain mentality, right? And I think that if we go into it in that way, it's not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah. I know for me, even at a young age, our bodies are so resilient, right? So I could do no pain, no gain. but I couldn't see into the future, right? I couldn't see into the 30s, the impact it would have, and rupturing a disc in my back and ankle, like so many things where now as we do these workouts, I'm like, wow, had I known about this back then, the way I could have been in such, I don't know, more aligned fitness that would have made me an even better athlete, really. So thank you. The other thing we should say is that Anna is from Spain. And if I didn't love her approach, her method, and her experience, I love working out with her just because of her accent. Sometimes she has other trainers. If her schedule doesn't work, I'll work with a different trainer. And I tell her that all of her trainers have to be able to roll their R's because in the middle of it, a workout, when it's like, I have no energy left. And, I can't even think of a word, but it's like, right, Elena. I'm like, okay, I can keep going. It's my favorite, but I love accents and I love culture. So there we have it. All right, Anna, will you tell us? So we're talking about, fitness. We're talking about health. We're talking about, really being in tune with our bodies. And so, I've shared with our group at this point that I have this ulterior motive for helping us see that the way we think really impacts the actions that we take. And so when it comes to fitness, when it comes to health this way, how are we typically thinking? What's our old school way of thinking about fitness?
Yeah, I think the main thought or the main misconception out there, right, is that it has to be hard, as we were talking about. That is hard, it's painful, and yeah, I mean the muscles are gonna burn sometimes, right? But I think when we come from that perspective, from that approach, like the goals that we have become unattainable because we are not even able to get it started because we are scared of feeling that way. So I think that's the number one reason. I always feel like when I introduce myself as a fitness trainer, health coach is different, right? It's a little bit softer. But fitness trainer, everybody looks at me like I'm tough and I'm going to make them suffer and I'm going to hurt them and I'm going to, in some cases, even injure them, right? When the technique that I practice is completely the opposite. It's like you said, it's a lot of gentleness. It's about of helping you connect within yourself when you're exercising and only do as much as you can under the conditions that we create for you that are very safe to get the stimulus that you need for your muscles to grow and develop. But always, as you said before, in a gentle way, or at least that's my approach, And again, that doesn't mean that you are not going to be working hard and intense and that you're going to be getting the results that you want. You actually get them faster, I believe, in this way.
Yeah. Yeah. I can speak to that. I was actually laughing the other day, like just children kind of getting away from, really more intense workouts. And the other day I was like, oh, I can feel a tricep again. Wow. So being able to get results again from, not hours of, reps with heavy metal in the gym or anything like that. It's just really amazing. So, okay. So when we're thinking like, oh, fitness has to be hard, I really want to make this connection, this distinction, because for me and a lot of the women that I encounter typically are thinking, sometimes we're not even aware of how powerful it is and how it's making decisions for us. So if we're thinking, oh, it's got to be hard, right? Oh, we're really going to have to push, we're going to have to force. It typically, our thinking then will generate a bunch of feelings. Right. And so when we're thinking, oh, it has to be so hard, what feelings does it tend to create in us or create in women um, when we're thinking that way?
Yeah, I think what happens is that it creates this sense of overwhelm, right? That you get paralyzed, stuck, and not able to take the first step, which might be just go for a daily walk, if that's the case, that you've been a little bit more inactive. So I think that a stagnation could happen. And I think on the other hand, what could actually happen is that you need to do something, right? Because you got to the point where either, overweight to a point that is very uncomfortable or just feeling pain in your body from inactivity and start doing something. Could be a diet, right? Could be a fast diet in relation to fitness, or could be doing something in fitness that you start exercising every day with low impact and you start injuring yourself. So it could be something that is not sustainable, right? Either it's stuck, I'm not going to do anything because it is too hard. I don't have time. And I really don't want to be unhappy while I do this. I don't want to be in pain. Or again, going to a place where you just overdo and you start doing something that creates even more overwhelm because you are not able to fulfill or commit to what you said you were going to do. I think there's two positions there that could happen.
Yes. Oh, that actually makes a whole bunch of sense. yeah, that we were talking about this morning too, that when we're feeling or thinking a certain way, like, oh, this is going to be painful, it has to hurt, then I just won't do it.
Right.
Right. I've evolved enough as a woman. I will not subject my body to that. Or the other way of, okay, it has to hurt. So I'm going to push and take these actions that feel really punishing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can only punish yourself for a period of time, right? So the problem with that last choice is that we usually come back to our old habits and to our old selves without really making any long-term changes.
Right. Right. And the injuries that we experience along the way, the setbacks that we have along the way. Okay. All right. So I've alluded to this a little bit. You shared just a little bit. And how can we be thinking about fitness? You know, your approach. Tell us more about what's really possible that, like you said, it's like the best kept secret, only it's not really the best thing because I believe everyone needs to know. But what is this approach? How does it work?
Yeah. So, well, two things, right? I think one of the things that you want to do when you're thinking about creating a healthier self, right? A healthier person, is to put yourself on that space of joy, right? This is what you want. So you want to do this process happy, regardless of what you're doing, right? Now, the reason why I think my method and my approach is one of the best out there and the best kept secret in the industry is because it doesn't require as often of a workout as you would do with conventional techniques. And as you were saying before, using the method, I encourage you to feel what is happening in your body during that time. So it's a lot more present, it's a lot more conscious. It's not about doing the exercise by listening to music or getting out of the workout, but it's about really connecting with yourself, really being present to what is happening, and then assessing it. And if that day, you have a day that your body doesn't want to push that much, obviously you always want to challenge yourself. But if you have a day that you need to take it a little bit easier, assess that. And if a day that you're ready to go for it, assess that and go for it. And then create a way that you are also allowing your body to rest. Because as I was telling you before, I think one of the main issues why people get injured is because they feel they need to exercise every day to a very high intensity if they want to get results. And what I've seen proven and proven with my clients, with my own experience for more than almost 20 years now, is that that's not how it works. You need to allow for your body to rest, recover, for the muscles to become stronger in order to give it the intensity again, to give it the stimulus for the muscle to grow and then again to rest. So when I'm working with somebody, we create a program where they actually do that, where one day they can work very intensely, the next day they can do still something, but that is of a lower intensity, and so on and so forth. So you are respecting the body's natural ability to become stronger by letting it rest. That's one of the biggest, um, I think, misconceptions about the industry. And the other one, if I can go a little farther and deeper, is the speed of movement when you are exercising in this way, right? During our mindful online workouts, that's how we call them, as you know, what we try to do is move as slow as you can. So when we are moving slowly, we are accomplishing a couple of things. One that is safer, but the other one is that you are making the muscles do all the work without putting any stress on your joints, and also getting deeper in muscle fibers that you don't otherwise. And again, when that happens, we are creating a higher sense of strength in our muscles. And that's why we need a little bit more of the rest in order to come back again to that strength and that stronger self that can work intensely. So that's, I think, a few things that are important to mention, this technique. And if you feel like there's something else that you've experienced that you want me to touch on, I'll be happy to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I definitely have felt that as far as like the what happens in the recovery time. I've
Yeah.
even noticed, I think I've shared with you, like I could wake up even in the middle of the night if one of my girls wakes up and I go to see what's going on. And it's like I can feel that my body has been working. And not in a way that wakes me up or feels like it's stress. It's like I've heard that in the past that it's actually in our sleep when our body will use fat for energy to build muscle.
It's so funny that you say that, because I was just thinking that, Alana. I was just thinking, this is something that I always say, right? Like, it's like in the entrepreneurial world, they tell you, wouldn't it be nice to have passive income so you can make money while you sleep? So I say the same thing about this. It's like people think that they use their calories when they are exercising. And what actually happens is that you spend your calories because your metabolism increases when you increase muscle. So I always say that in this way, you're building muscle to the point that your metabolic rate is helping you lose fat when you are sleeping. So isn't that nice, right?
Right, right. And so I can see we're having that time, that recovery time, letting our bodies go through that process. It's so counterintuitive, right? More is always better in, the old mindset. So I really see how that is such a difference. And then the slow, that's the reason I actually connected with you is when I was several years ago now, when I was teaching spin at a gym, I had come across the book. Um, I can't remember exactly what it's called. I know you know it, like slow. It's something about slow
Or
weightlifting.
strength, maybe, yeah. So,
Yeah,
or I forget the one that you read. There's a few out there that are that talk about the technique. Yeah, there's the power of 10. Yeah, serious strength could have been also. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So just this whole idea. I mean, and reading it back then, it really got my attention. I was, of course, trying to do it on my own. Like, okay, I'll read the book and go to the gym after a spin class. But this whole idea of a slow movement, right, versus many reps, it's mind blowing to me because coming from the world of athletics, right, and weight training, it's like I am strong. And so I'm used to being able to lift, 10 or 20-pound dumbbells over my head, many reps, right? And when you're like, grab your 3-pound weights, we're going to do an overhead press. And I'm like, 3 pounds. And because we're going so slow, after 5 reps, I'm like, you're killing me.
Right, correct. And that's another distinction, right, with conventional training, that sometimes we try to do more than we can. In this method of training, yes, you cannot do as much weight because you won't be able to move it going so slowly, but you are still working intensely through that very, very slow reps, right? And yeah, I mean, I give credit, always when I started super slow 20 years ago, because I was the person that started this technique. And then throughout the years, and especially these days working, online, I've changed my methods a little bit and the exercises that I do, and I have mixed with some other things that I've learned throughout the years. But that was the first learnings that I have, or the first school that I attended, and then that is based on high intensity training. So again, you are still working very intensely, but under very safe conditions. So it makes the workout very safe, very effective, and very efficient because you don't need that much time invested in it or that many days as with conventional training.
Yeah, yeah. And there's so much that I've experienced with you around proper alignment and form. That's another thing, how I feel about squats. I could do a bazillion squats, right? But I'm sure I was always horrible form. And I'm convinced that that's partly what led to a lot of misalignment and me rupturing a disc in my back. Um, form. And so it just amazes me as you observe, right, and can tweak just a few things. And with every tweak, it's when I can feel my body coming in, like partnering that, oh, it's not just, we're not just doing something to focus on my quads per se. It's like using my abs as a part of the movement. I can't think of a specific exercise right now, for example, but just bringing the full body together has been so profound as well.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought that up because I think form is one of the most important things, when you're training. And I'm a firm believer that if you're focusing with the muscle that you're working on each exercise, the results are even better, right? So, for example, when we're doing squats that I know you love so much, the main muscle that is working is going to be your glutes. So sometimes that connection for a lot of people doesn't happen right away. But I think just the fact that you think about it, it might take a little bit of time to make that connection, but it will happen eventually, right? And it also includes that you have proper form, that your body's positioned in a place in a way that is going to help you also enhance that connection. And yeah, to me, doing a lot of weight goes second. Form, proper form, breathing, right? That I stress a lot the point of making sure that you're constantly breathing throughout your workouts. And the speed of motion that is going to be controlled and slow is a lot more important than how much weight you lift. Doesn't really matter when you're working and you want to achieve to have success on all these things and doing it properly, right? Than to do too much too fast, as we were talking about before. It could happen, you feel like 10 pounds is going to give you a better result than 3 pounds. If you just started exercising, it's probably better to start a little lighter and then progressively increase. That's where we are with you now, right? We started with 3 pounds in some of the exercises, and recently we've been graduating to 10, but because you have been doing it progressively and gently.
Right, right. And to give everyone a sense of what we're talking about, lunges, right? The mindset for me around lunges is like, try to do 50 to 100. And after 6, I'm like, literally, I can't even finish the 6-1, right? We're talking like low, but it's the form and it's the focus so intently on the muscle groups that it's amazing. It's such an amazing workout. Like, I know I can come in like all wound up, something happened, or I've had a busy day and I've got all this energy. And midway through the workout, I'm like, and something just shifted. And I've kind of gone a little jello-y. And by the end, and I used to say when I rock climbed that I loved rock climbing because being out on a rock wall, like your focus has to be so intense, right? That I was like, I love it because it's the only time I truly am like right in the moment. Like it forces me to get fully present. And I have felt this way with this work that I'm paying attention so much to my body. Like I can't even think about other things. The first half of our workout, I'm goofing around and talking to you. The second half, I'm silent because like I can't even like let myself not let myself. It's just like it's just not there. I'm so present in my body and feeling everything connect with each other. It's amazing to me.
Yeah, I always say that it can be a meditation in movement if you really do it in that way, right? And there was something there that you said that actually made me think of something, and I totally just went away right now. But yeah, what you were talking about is also very important. And oh yeah, I know what I was gonna say. The fact that we don't count repetitions, right? That I count the time that you are on each exercise, I think makes a big difference because you don't have a goal of say, and some people want that, right? Some people want how many more. But my goal for you is to be so present and so connected that you are taking the muscles to that point of intensity where they can almost not do anymore, which is actually a term that is called muscular failure. And when I started super slow many years ago, that's really where we want to take everyone. And I've learned through the years that some people have a psychological also muscular failure where they cannot do anymore. But ideally, you want to get to the muscles to that point where they can really not work so much anymore. And that's when you're really getting even more intense and deeper success at a metabolical level, not just at the level of your muscles growth. So yeah, I almost forgot what I was going to say, but I'm glad that I remember because that is a very important point as well to keep in mind that there's not an actual goal, an actual set of reps that you need to do. That is more about just being there with your muscles, with your body, and just doing the work that will get you there. And I even think that it could be a spiritual practice, to be honest. Like I think I have experienced sometimes a way of almost being weightless. And I know that this is something that for people could be like, are you kidding me? Because we started a conversation with like, most people think about fitness as being painful and as being something that they are very uncomfortable through. And I think if you get in that mindset of, no, this is something that is good for me. This is something that is going to keep me healthy. And then you do it in this way that you are so present with yourself that in a way could almost be pleasurable.
Yeah. Yeah, and so much of the work that I do, we're really working to shift, from all of the story we hold up in our head to really getting fully present because I believe our wisdom is contained in our body. So this practice of getting so present, so connected, feeling, right, different muscles moving and different muscles working, I understand how it could get spiritual. It's spiritual for me when we connect because every time I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? And I'll be like, I am burned out. And she'll be like, 2 more reps, Elena. I'm like, all right, well, we're doing this.
I think that those are the most important ones. Those last two, those are the ones you want to stay with, right?
Yes, it's so amazing because it really is like 2 more. And I really have to dig for them because I am getting to that muscle failure. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like breakdown.
Right.
I know that feeling of pushing and being in the gym and pushing to get the last rep, the biggest push, but at the same time, almost feeling like this doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good for my body. And there's such a difference. Maybe it has to be experienced. Oh man, I'm so excited. Let me check. I have a difficult time scrolling on the computer. So I am going to just real quick look at our group.
Because they might have some questions.
Yes, to see if we have any questions. There we go. Oh yay, Abby's here. Abby, I'm glad you found us. Monica says, yes, listening to my body feels good, although it took me a long time to get there.
Right.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, Anna, about what you see as far as I'm sort of imagining with mindful online workouts. You see the spectrum of those of us that have, pushed and forced, done the punishing techniques with our body for a long time, all the way to the other side where maybe women were exposed to exercise or sort of resisted exercise. And so they feel like, I don't really know how to do this. Like the idea of weightlifting and that kind of stuff feels foreign. So how do you see this particular workout suiting, the spectrum?
And you mean in like the whole spectrum of fitness, like how this is fitting into that? Yeah, yeah. No, that's a good question. And I think, I mean, one of the things that I always think is that it's so convenient because now you can do it from your home, right? So you don't have to go anywhere. So a lot of women that are juggling businesses and children and families, and even people that are not necessarily keen on going to a gym because not everybody likes that. This is a way that is very easy to at least have experience of something that will be a little unique and a little bit different than what you tried before, right? So I think that that's one of the biggest thing. The other thing is that what we were talking about before, right? That if you're a person that actually enjoys a deeper connection with yourself, and not being outside when you're exercising, right? If you don't find pleasure through that, I think this might be a different way also to exercise. As the friend that was writing down, right? Monica, I think it was her name. Like the more that she practiced that, the better she feels about herself, right? And I think that's something that also will be interesting for some people to try if they've never tried it before, right? And then on a broader spectrum, I feel that, as I was saying before, right, a lot of people think about, yes, I want to be healthy, I want to lose 20 pounds, I want to see my triceps like you are seeing these days, whatever it is the goal that they have, right? But the sea is so far in the future and it's such an uphill kind of road to take, right? And I think what will help is just to take the first step. And usually exercising actually is one of the best steps, because when you exercise you start feeling those feel good hormones, right, that that happen during exercise, and you start feeling the changes in your body. So it's gonna probably prompt you to take the next step and the next step and the next step. So instead of just trying to do too much, start moving. You're gonna change your physicality, you're gonna change emotionally, you're gonna change even energetically, because all the movement, that is one of the first and the best ways to actually get you in a different state. So just, little something that you can start doing, and then keep going, to the next one, and then the next one, until you actually get to the top of the mountain, right? Which I think is important.
Yeah, yeah. I love this. This is actually, I said we spoke with a health coach this morning. She was talking about food and just how we can go about you really upping the ante with the nutrition in our food. And it's the similar message. And I think this is just so important for us to hear over and over. I know we can know it in our head, and then the shift to really allow ourselves to embody this acceptance that we can go step by step, right? That you're saying, maybe when it comes to fitness, of getting in and just feeling what it feels like to do a few reps before we even add weights, right? And allowing it to feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the keys, as I said before. And also, we are talking about breaking patterns, right? Like if you've been in the pattern of inactivity for a while, and especially, you're in the past year, that has been happening a lot. Um, is to break that, start with a new habit and try to replace, the inactivity with a little bit of activity. And it doesn't happen overnight, right? Sometimes it might be a process. And the other thing that I think is very important, and I know you and I have talked about this a little bit, but is the guilt that we put ourselves sometimes when we are not doing what we say we're gonna do, right? Like if you put the goal of exercising every day and then you only do, 2 or 3 times a week, then by the end of the week you feel like you didn't accomplish your goal. And I always say, just celebrate, that you're taking those first steps, and the guilt is not gonna help us at all. What we want to do is just get up again and do it again until that new habit that you want to create is so ingrained, is so embedded that you don't even have to think about it anymore, right? Because we only have that much willpower. So it's just the breaking the habit, breaking the pattern, creating the healthier habits that I think will take in the long term to the results that you want to go.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was gonna say is that I feel like there's such a big opportunity these days, because I think a lot of people have been working on creating new habits, right? Because we have new lifestyles, and I mean, we don't know how much it's gonna change or in what direction. But what I know is that it is a great opportunity to look at the habits and the things in your life that you're like no longer serve you, and that you can create new healthier habits, with the new situation that we have. And it's a great opportunity if you want to look at it that way. It's time to come back to ourselves, and especially as women, I think it's time to really self-care, if we really want to make some changes in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, I just love this. Let me double check here really quick. Um, do, 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 do. Mm, yeah, Robin's saying positive reinforcement with the hormones and then too much guilt. Yeah, it's amazing just um, how much our mindset, right? If we're showing up with a mindset of it has to hurt, or if it's supposed to be all at once, it's just amazing. I know you help me with this often, right? Of coming back. Will you speak just a little bit? Because another thing, so um, Anna is a fitness coach, right? She's a personal trainer, and she also does coaching around this, and nutrition and the whole package, right, around health and wellness. And so, one thing that you've really shown light on for with me is around identity, and in the way that we're knowing ourselves. And so to wrap us up here, will you just kind of share with us how you've seen this show up for women that are working to make some transformation, and what is it about identity that's so important?
Yeah, that's a great point, right? Because I think we have, and then comes back again to the patterns that we have for ourselves, right? It's a little bit in connection, in which we believe that we are our habits, that we are what we have created. And even though we want to create a different self in this case, right? If you're looking to be healthier, if you're looking to do more exercise, if you're looking to lose weight, if you're looking to whatever it is, stop drinking, in some cases. So I think we just identify ourselves with how we've been for a very long time. And then it's very different to create a new persona or a new way of being. And I think that's the first step. As I was saying you before, right? It's like, what is your longest goal? Well, for a lot of women I work, they are overweight, they are tired, they are having addictions to drinking, to food, and there are a lot of those things that I think we can be broken if you think and every day try to do the exercise of visualizing who is this other person that you want to create, and really embodying that and really feeling it in your whole body and in your whole self. And then, as I was saying, that's the more um, energetic aspect of things. And then is the practical aspect of still breaking it down into pieces. And okay, to get there, what is it that I have to do? What is it that I have to do, from identifying myself from a very inactive, overweight, tired, no energy person to a person that is going to be bright and vibrant and radiant, right? As we are talking about here. And that is going to have unlimited energy to do all the things that you want to do. I think that's a key point, and I'm glad that you mentioned it, because I think it's a good way also to kind of wrap up everything, right? How we can go from one place to another, and it's just a matter of being committed to it, but also doing the steps, the little steps that will get you there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. With just adding to that, the identity, the big piece for me has been the identity of, the athlete that will push and push and push, right? That punishing techniques have to be the way to strengthen. So not only, I don't know, like just taking on the identity that it can be different, right? That I am feminine, that I am someone who listens to her body, right? Those are all big shifts to be making that really, like you're talking about, require that step by step. Like I might not be fully there because I get back into the mode of like, yeah, I can do more, right? But just really the way we see ourselves and the stories that we've held about health, weight, fitness, all of those kind of things.
Yeah.
Um,
And just one last quick thing, because you talk about women in particular, obviously we're talking about women in particular, is that we cannot overlook that we have cycles that are going to be a little bit different than what Ben experienced, right? And I think we also have to acknowledge what are in our cycle and what our body can do during that, because we are all going to feel a little bit weaker, at some points, and we're going to feel like we can really go at some points. And I think that's also very important to acknowledge when you're talking about exercising specifically, to see, and respect the body needs.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So being in the rhythm of the cycle of the month, the seasons of the year, can be so powerful as well. Which actually, to me, again, it plays back to when we're paying attention to our bodies, when we're in partnership with our bodies, we're actually expediting the transformation we want to create. Right? We so often like, ah, gosh, I just know this so well, pushing through, not paying attention to my body, have to hit the targets instead of, just listening to what my body can do. It's, we get the setbacks or the injuries or the resistance because I don't want to push so hard, instead of being in the flow of where our body is through the month, through the seasons and through the year.
Yes, yeah, and that's a great point, because it's almost what you're talking about is like putting into alignment not only your physical body but with your mind and with your emotions, and being fully aligned when you are thinking about those health aspects that sometimes we, right? Because like we were saying, if you're resisting it and you're saying, oh, this is so hard for me, of course your body's not going to change. And I see this sometimes, right, with people that they want the change, but because mentally and emotionally there's so much stress and there's so much resistance to the change, it doesn't actually happen. It doesn't matter how hard you work, right? So that has to shift in order for your body to follow and for everything else to go. Yeah.
I could talk to you all day long. Let me do one more quick check here. And to wrap up, Anna, I want to get to hear your vision, what you believe is possible for women. What do you see for us as the collective of women right now?
Yeah, that's a great question, right? And as I was saying before, I feel that there's this new re-immersion of like women really coming back to themselves and taking care of themselves. I think there's this new consciousness that if we really don't take care of ourselves, we really cannot take care of anybody, right? And I feel like we've been so much the caretakers for so many years, and the ones that just drain their energy everywhere, right? Again, with families, kids, work, right? It's like we want to do it all. And then the exhaustion, the really getting into medical issues and emotional issues that should not be happening when we really take care of ourselves. I think that's the key, not just for what is going on right now in the world. I think it will definitely improve the health of the world overall, but I think it will also make us happier. I think you probably read one of the newsletters that I sent recently about being called a little bit self-absorbed. And I look at that as a positive. Like if you're being self-absorbed, you're starting with yourself in order to fill the tank and be able to give others. Because if we don't do that, we're not going to have anything left for others. So I think the consciousness of that, I see it more and more, which is super excellent to see. And I want to talk to people more about that, because I think it's so important not to forget that that's the beginning, that's the key, in order to be healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, Anna, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Such a perfect way to wrap up. To close this out here, will you help me? We're going to close with a ready, set, radiate. Can we do that together?
Yes, of course.
Okay, here we go. Ready, set, radiate. Awesome. Thank you so much. All of you participating with us, please post in the comments your ahas, things that are striking you, things that you want to be committed to with regard to your fitness moving forward. All right, Anna, I will be looking forward to our next workout. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.